You got more grades to go?
Letter grade C, which
Okay.
means just above failing.
I mean, look at these teams here: the Rams, the Colts, the Saints.
What was the favorite phrase a couple of years ago? The general manager of the Rams, as they were projecting they're going to be a Super Bowl team. He's the one who had the T-shirt that said "F those draft picks" because the Rams had traded all those draft
Yeah,
picks
I
away.
remember that. Yeah.
Well, he's got a lot of effing draft picks now.
Well, yeah. Look at that.
The Rams went absolutely crazy. Now, the Rams had 14 picks in all, which is an unbelievable number. And on top of that, they just announced they signed 24 undrafted free agents.
Wow.
That's amazing. I mean, their mini camps and their OTAs, football helmet, strip of tape across the front with your last name.
Yeah.
There are so many new faces that'll be in the Rams camp.
It's going to be like a big tryout.
Yeah, exactly. I really like what they did at the top of the board. Steve Avila is a really good offensive lineman. Played tackle in college, projects to a guard, warrior, great feet. You know, when you measure linemen, you got height, you got weight, you got length, the intangible footwork, because you need to be able to move your feet to pass block, run block, get to the second level. Avila is really good. He was not a stud massive tackle like some of the other tackles at the top of the draft board, but I think he's a really fine player, and he goes to a position of need. They drafted a defensive end, Brian Young, who's a pass rusher. They drafted a defensive tackle along the way, and they drafted the guy that drove Georgia to back-to-back national championships, Stetson Bennett. And all he does is manage games and wins. He does not throw for 4,900 yards or 51 touchdowns like guys at Ohio State do. He's just smart. He's a winner. He manages games. Now, I don't know if Stetson Bennett is going to be the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford a year and a half from now, but they spent a fairly decent pick to get him in there. So I think that's a positive. The Rams have just got so many people there. Other thing is the Rams, in all honesty, John, they're going to be a really young team. I think this is, they won't say it. I think this is rebuild. And when you're rebuilding with as many young guys as they brought in, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure, but I like seeing him get Bennett. I mean, that guy, he's a winner. Maybe he's like Trent Dilfer. Maybe, smart guy can manage the offense.
Also, C grade. I like Indianapolis. I think Shane Steichen's going to be fun to watch to see what he inherits, how he can fix it. They're drastically going to change the offense. But Anthony Richardson, it's going to be his team. And I think he's probably going to play right from the get-go, sink, swim, or get battered. He's a great physical specimen, so they got to keep him healthy. We'll be intrigued to see how he consumes the playbook, the complexities of pre-snap reads, the different things defenses are going to do. Yeah, he played at Florida, threw for a bunch of yards, touchdowns, but he had interceptions, only completed 53% of his passes. This will be a learning curve going forward. But most people of the opinion, they hit the jackpot on the kid. The kid's not ready. The kid's going to have to play. Hope you don't get him busted up. But maybe a year from now, year and a half from now, we'll say, wow, that turned out to be a really good pick, and he's on a fast track because he's learned the game. But I gave them a letter grade of C for that. They needed help. Okay, it's so many injuries. They got a defensive tackle, defensive end, but AR-15 is obviously the guy. And New Orleans, I don't know that they're going through rebuild. Their defense has got some mileage on it. So that they drafted defensive end, defensive tackle, and they drafted Jake Haener, the Fresno State quarterback,
Nice.
who is a smart guy. Now, a little bit undersized, but you can't use that as a critique not to take the look, not to touch. Because Drew Brees was undersized, and look what Drew Brees did in New Orleans, obviously linking up with Sean Payton. So that's a select group of the teams that I gave the letter grade C to. Go to my website, read my one man's opinion column, because I have every one of those teams in the NFL graded out, including your favorite team. What'd you think about my comments about F them draft picks, the Colts, etc.?
It's an interesting breakdown. I'm looking at AR-15 and I'm thinking, is he kind of like Josh Allen? Because when Allen came out of college, specimen, physical, could run, could throw a mile. but had all those interceptions, and his accuracy was off. Is AR-15 the same kind of guy?
That's a good mix. He's big size guy. He's 244 pounds. He's 6'4". He can run though. He's probably faster than Josh Allen. You know, he freaked everybody out at the combine because he did the throwing sessions and then all the metrics, the timing, he was pretty impressive. So we'll see how quickly he can handle this because, you know, pal, you're not playing at Florida against South Carolina. You're playing in the NFL.
Right.
You're not throwing against 5'9" cornerbacks. That's a Pro Bowler there. That might be a Hall of Famer over there. And we'll see what they do to kind of spook him because the history of NFL coordinators is they'll look at tape till they're bleary-eyed, and they'll come up with something defensively that forces Anthony Richardson into something that he can't handle. We're not going to let him have his way in the NFL. So it'll be fun watching him go forward.
Do you think he'll be behind the quarterback QB1 on week 1?
I think he will be the starter.
Wow.
And they're excited because all you have to do is look at some of the videos of his productivity with the Gators and say, wow. But you also need to look at all the other junk, the interceptions and the 53% completion rate and what happened to the program. Not necessarily all on him.